what I want to do is bring in experts that can really help our community grow. And I felt that it was perfect to talk about education, talk about our youth, and talk about when is the right time to really start thinking about our future. So when I got the chance to connect with our next guest, I was super excited to bring her on to be our coach for this evening. And so tonight, I'm going to bring on Coach TCRY. For everyone who is here, make sure you follow Shop Bob. And of course, you can follow me, Janelle Simone, as we bring in our coach. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I am really, really excited to have you here tonight because I want to give opportunity for us to have a pen and a pad, take some notes so that way we can grow as a community. And so if you will, please introduce yourself and what you do to our audience tonight.
So first and foremost, thank you for having me tonight. I'm so excited. I go by Coach TCRY. My name is TCRY, and my business is all about helping families and students navigate what is nothing like what it was when I went to college, right? I filled out a paper form and they said, hey, you're in, and I filled out a FAFSA and I went on about my business, right? Now it is way more complex. And so navigating essays and which schools to apply, when do you apply, when do we start saving for college, just all of those things. I'm so excited to work with families to help them figure out when to start this process and give them opportunities. So with all of my students, I like to tell them, by the time you're a senior, I want you to have options on the table. I don't want you to feel like you're forced to go here because that's the only school that admitted you and we didn't have a plan. So it's all about creating a plan, having some options, and doing what's going to be best for the student and family.
Mm-hmm. So this is interesting because I am not a mother yet who knows what the future holds. But what I do know is my experience matriculating through the halls of academia. I remember being focused on activities. I was volunteering. I was doing Toys for Tots, coat drives. I was singing in choirs at senior facilities. But in high school, I noticed that certain students of a certain persuasion were already going on college tours. They were narrowing down schools in freshman and sophomore year, while I was just focused on playing sports and I was just living my high school life. And so by the time I got to my senior year, even though I was already in accelerated math and science programs, when it was time to, all right, I'll file my papers for schools, I wasn't getting into any of them. I wasn't able to get my first choice, and I had to go to a school. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with the schools that I went to, but I wasn't properly prepared. And when I did speak to a guidance counselor in my senior year, it was almost like a shock. Like, you didn't have this figured out freshman year. And I was like, I wasn't thinking about college in freshman year. I wasn't thinking about tuition because when the schools that I did apply for, it was tuition that really held me back. I was getting partial, but I wasn't getting full scholarship for certain schools. And so I wanted to really dive deep, because as soon as I post that you were going to be the guest on my show today, I was receiving messages. Actually, one I noticed that you had a chance to see as well, and I'm glad you saw it, so you know I'm telling the truth. But I was getting messages from parents who said, I had no idea. I was not prepared for my child to go to school. I'm seeing the videos that are going viral of children that are getting accepted into all of the top schools. They're getting all of these scholarships. And then I didn't even know how to apply. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't have this information. And so the first question I really wanted to pose to you is, when do you start thinking about college?
When you're pregnant. I'm working on a book, and the first part of it is to talk about the importance of planning, right? It is not, oh, we're in high school, so let's try to figure it out.
Right.
I would encourage people, as you are planning babies and having babies, that the financial part starts then. I don't have children either, but for everybody in my family that I see on here, whenever I have one, can you please contribute to a 529 plan for my child? You know, for birthdays, what do? We buy toys that they discard, or we buy clothes that they grow out of. That's fine. But that $50 could have went into an educational savings program. Think about that. If for every birthday, for every holiday, right? I used to get a little money for my good grades coming up. Put it into a savings plan. Put it into an educational savings plan so that we're not scrambling. And if we are just getting a partial scholarship, well, we've got that savings plan over here to make up the difference.
Right.
So it's not about high school. It's not even about middle school. When you're planning that baby,
right,
we plan for our children to go to college. The college conversation starts very early. When they're in elementary school, take them on a college campus. Why not? Get them acclimated. The first time they hear about a college should not be in high school or middle school. They should have already walked around, even for a few minutes. Look, this is where mom or dad went to school. Okay. This is where aunt or uncle went to school, right? Oh, and they'll look around like this is big, huge place. But by the time they're in high school, they've been on college visits. They have an idea of, do I want a big school? Do I want a small school? Right? Do I want to go to an all-girls school, all-boys school? All of those things, because you've been exposed. And so my big thing for our community is about access and exposure. Let's do that very early so that we're not trying to figure it out. We already have it figured out. We already had a coach, right, who talked to us early on about my child was on this college campus. Because my other clients who don't look like us, right, will say, oh, yeah, my mom, she took me on campus. I remember I was like 5 years old. 5.
Wow.
They were 5.
Wow.
Right? And so we start there. That's when we start.
So one thing that you did mention was the College 529 plan. So basically what you're telling parents is that they have to think of the investment for later, the financial obligation that they may need. Now, do you ever receive resistance from parents at that age, you know, in that term of their life with their child, because they want to do the toys and they want to really give them all of the luxuries that we tend to give children during Christmas, and then they end up just playing with the bows and the box on the side with the cat and not playing with the toy trucks at all? What would you say to those parents who are saying that's too soon?
There's a healthy balance. I'm not saying take away all the Christmas toys or all the birthday things, but do we need all of those things, or maybe half of those things, right? Because you do hear parents say things like, I want them to have a childhood. I want them to be able to enjoy their childhood. That's where we get the toys and the video games and all the things. That's fine. A balance,
right?
A healthy balance, right? And then you start that savings plan with that child. And as they're growing up and they're getting the birthday money, because at some point kids are like, don't buy me anything. I want the cash, right? I'll take the cash. But teach them, okay, so grandmother gave you $100 for your birthday. Half of that is going into your college savings plan, and the other half you do what you want.
I love the idea of planning ahead, but I'm also going to challenge those who come to you as a coach and said, man, I missed the mark.
Yep.
I'm past kindergarten. I'm past pre-K. I'm past nursery school. I'm past grade school. Now, what do I do? Is it too late? Have I failed my child in their future because I did not plan?
Well, everybody doesn't know everything, right? And that's why we have these conversations. And it's not too late. So I do get parents who, oh my gosh, my kid is in the 9th grade. We haven't done a thing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I say, okay, well, first of all, do you know what your child is interested in? I don't know. Let me talk to your child. They're going to tell me something they're not going to tell you, right? As the coach, and that's why I go by a coach, especially teenagers, they love it. It's like, oh, Coach, I love it. They'll tell me things and we engage because I'm not your parent, right? And then I start asking questions. What are you interested in? Okay, so that means over the summer, we're going to the camp or we're going to the workshop at this college, or we're going to do those things based on your interests. Because one, I need to know if you're really interested in that, because we'll find out very quickly. Hear a lot of people, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse. Okay, now I want you to go shadow them. I can't do it. They take my blood. I'm like, oh, let me know when y'all done.
You know it.
Okay, but you need to know that before you start college, go pre-med and realize I wasted a bunch of money, right? So we're doing these things in high school. So it's not too late if they're in high school to try to navigate and figure out, because then the scholarships attached to the profession, right? So we have young people, I want to be an engineer. Well, National Society of Black Engineers gives out scholarship money. Right? So it's not necessarily too late for the parent to help figure out, where can we get other funds from? If I haven't saved, how do we make this happen? And I have lots of conversations about going out of state versus in state. Can we really afford this? And I have to have realistic conversations. If it's going to cost you $60,000 per year, and the average graduation now is 5, we're at $300,000. You should not be taking out a second mortgage for your child to do that. We can find other schools, right, that you can get a great education and not spend that much money. But the parent has to be willing, right, not be the friend, but be willing to have the conversation, because this is a family conversation. I am not putting myself, my dad was clear with me, I'm not putting myself in debt like that for you to go to school. So here is what our budget looks like. And that's a real conversation, but not, oh, well, I'm going to let you go there for a year. We max out everything. And now you got to come home. Credits may or may not transfer, and you're starting over. Right. So some of this is planning and being very realistic about what we really can afford as a family and what works. Maybe that's not the school you go to, right, for undergrad, your dream school, because it's too expensive. That might be your grad program that you end up going to, right? And let's have that conversation. But it's not too late for them. I have lots of kids who are 9th and 10th graders. So it's not too late for parents to start that conversation with me now, so we can get them on track.
No, I think that's really smart. And I see Onyx Bookstore Cafe also said it was a great idea. And Lachey, who was pre-med going into school and actually did a change while in school. And that is something I also wanted to talk to you about, is that pivot, because it sounds great to think that we've got the 20-year plan and I'm going to be this doctor and I'm going to study, and then we get into pre-med, and the first time we have to cut open the earthworm in biology, we are just shaky hands. We're not going to be the surgeon. And now we have that pivot. So what can we say to the child, even at that point? Is there a way to pivot in school, while you're in school, now noticing that this was not the path, this is not what really motivates me or moves me forward?
Well, luckily, a lot of schools have kind of shifted. So even if you're the child who's going in pre-med, you're taking a lot of general education courses first, and you might take that one bio class that you figure out, this is not going to work for me. But those general education classes will transfer to a multitude of other majors. right? So it's not all is lost. It's when we're getting further down the road and they're juniors in college and they've earned all these credits, right, that are very specific to a major, that it becomes very tricky and can extend their time in college, which is not what we want to do at the undergrad level as much as we can. But that's why the coaching is so important. The time that they spend over summers, right? I had one young man, I'm like, what are we doing over summer? He's like, I don't know, just hanging. I said, hanging where? You're not going to just hang. Your summer is not meant for you to, because if you're competing, you mentioned this, you're competing against all these other young people who are having these experiences. They are shadowing doctors. And when they get ready to apply to school, that doctor's writing them a letter of recommendation. Right? Because they've had an experience. So again, it's a balance. I'm like, yeah, we can do a little bit of this with your friends, but maybe for 4 weeks, I need you to be doing some type of internship experience.
Okay.
Right? It's a balance. I know people are like, oh my gosh, she's doing too much. No, you're competing. It's not you against you. It's you against all of your classmates who are doing other things. And you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. So when it's time to apply, we've got all these extracurriculars. We've got leadership. And it's not just about checking a box saying I did 20 activities, right? It's the ones that I was actively engaged in, that I demonstrated leadership, that I was passionate about. And it's a balance of that. You can still have fun. You have a coach like me. By the time senior year comes, you can enjoy senior year. You're not scrambling like a lot of students are who are like, oh my gosh, I'm still trying to figure out where I'm applying. No, we're done. Right now, my students are done applying. We're just sitting back looking at all those kids you see on TikTok. Like, I got this letter, those are my students, right? I got this interview at Northwestern. I got this, I've got that. Yes, that's the position I want you in. So senior year, we're cruising. We're enjoying our time. Not scrambling. Don't want to scramble.
Now, I'm not going to lie, because if I was one of your students and you told me that I had to spend my summer doing school, I would have given you all the resistance. I was like, I didn't fail any classes. I'm not doing summer school. I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to the park to play handball.
And I'm like, yep, that's nice. Half your day. Again, summer, you got a whole day. Half your day, you're shadowing, interning, whatever. The other half of your day, while your friends are still sleeping, right? When you get up in the morning to go do that, they're still asleep. You go handle your business, right? You come home, have your lunch, take your break, and then you go hang with your friends and go play handball or do whatever you want to do.
Right.
There again, I negotiate with my students a lot. I'm like, I know you want to do that. I know. But look, let me show you this. And because I can cite examples and show them other students I've worked with, they didn't want to do that at first either. But now look at where they are. They've gotten into this school. They're at this school. They're graduating from the engineering program. Oh, yeah. And they did what I told them to do.
So I have another thing that I want to bring up to you, which is very important, because we're talking about parents who are really making the decision to put money aside for their child. But let's be real, because our community, it's a small percentage that can financially support, because they are taking care of all of the bills. They are taking care of multiple children. They're still working. They're going back to school themselves. So for a child who is coming to you as a coach and they're having their summer job, that's how they're saving money. What support do you offer a student in that realm who wants to be able to afford and to go to the schools? How do they go through your programs in order to be set up for success?
Then we're doing lots of scholarship searches, right? That's where we're going, because I do have families. They're like, I had one mom tell her young man, listen, that means I'm not getting my nails done. That means I'm not getting my lashes, because we got to pay Coach Cry, right? But this is the sacrifice I'm making. So with them, every week it's a scholarship search. Every week, here, I'm sending you this. I'm sending you this. I'm checking in midweek. Did you see the scholarship I sent you? I need you to get that done. because it's not just, again, the national things, it's the local things, right? We have lots of friends and family who are part of fraternities and sororities. And, you know, they invite us to the little wine thing, and part of that money that you pay for that ticket, right, for the wine tasting goes to a scholarship fund. That's a local initiative. So now you're going to apply to all of these. You don't have to have an allegiance to any one at that level. And we're going to apply to all of them. And I do encourage students not to just look for, oh my gosh, I need the biggest scholarship. No, you might get $1,000 over here, $500 over here, another $2,000. Now, once we pull all that together, oh, tuition's paid. But we don't overlook the small scholarship because it's too small. No, that might be your book money for the year, right? So we do scholarship searches and we figure it out that way.
Yeah, book money is right, because $500, that's like a book and a workbook. That's
Yes.
Lord knows, room and board, but you got to eat too. I have to eat too.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't.
Yes.
It's too much. It's too much. That was definitely a wake up call for me, because I did not prepare that far to go to a university, to go away. And so when it was time for me, I was just like, all right, I just got my job from McDonald's. I just got my little paycheck. That's all I had. I had partial scholarship, but I was like, how am I going to make ends meet? So I love the fact that you are able to source at any tier that they are, so they don't feel that it's too late for them to fulfill their mission. So one question I do have for you, because you did say that you mainly work at the moment with 9th and 10th graders, but what is the most optimal time that you start cultivating a child in order to start going through the process to making sure these scholarships are locked in, these programs are set for them?
We start at 9th grade. If they're rising like I'm in the 8th grade and I want to talk to you, we'll talk, right? But 9th grade is when it starts. Oh my gosh, I'm in high school. And I say to them, look how quickly you got to high school. It's going to go by so quick. This is what we have to do, right? So a lot of my students were seniors. So they're done and applying and got their letters. And now we are literally having meetings to talk about, you've got 10 acceptances. Who's offering you some money? Is this in the budget? If they're not giving you a full ride, can your parents afford the difference, right? And how did you feel when you were on that campus? Because I tell them, you don't just say yes off pretty pictures, because all the websites look cute. They all look cute. What you're looking at when you go on that campus, and I was an admissions person, your tour is supposed to be phenomenal. They're supposed to sell you. They're salespeople.
Right.
Talk to the students on the campus. Talk to people that look like you. How do you like being on this campus? You like this campus? Is there a place for us on this campus? Right? That's important. Right. So I like working with middle school and very early in high school. Now, I have a lot of kids who are juniors and seniors, right? Because they're like, oh, I didn't have a coach. And now my friend said, oh, my other friend has a coach. Yeah. They've had a coach for years, right? And I tell people, think of sports, right? When you start seeing these children now and they're in high school, they've had a coach since they were playing t-ball. Yes. So why don't you have a coach for these things? Yes. It's the same concept. I'm going to be the person pushing your child, and they're going to listen to me very differently than they're listening to a parent. It's just a different relationship with a coach. So yeah, so really 8th, 9th grade is when the students start investing. But I love talking to parents of elementary school children to say, this is what we should be doing right now. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So for the parents out there who are watching this live, and of course for our replay watchers, I thank you for that. How do they get in touch with you? Because I know they got questions. Because like I said, I was getting a lot of messages just about, I wish I knew what I knew now before. because everything would have been different. Because in our community, we don't teach about ahead. And I think we've all been, conditioned for this paycheck to paycheck, that we don't think about the year, the 20-year plan
Correct.
out, even when it comes, because right now, I think we're really talking about investments, but even in education, investing in that, I think that is really important about driving for that. So please let us know, how can we find you so they can begin discussing the strategies needed.
So I put my website there in the chat, so hopefully everybody sees that, even on replay. If you go to CoachTCRY.com, you will see me in my very Black Panther-esque look with my black leather coat and all that. I'm born and raised in Detroit, so it was kind of chilly that day when we did the photo shoot. But yeah, if you go to CoachTCRY.com, there's a way for you to fill out a form with your name and phone number and email, and I will be sure to get back with you, because I want our folks to get on this whole path and change the culture of what it means to go to college for our Black and Latin students.
And before we wrap up, there is one thing that I definitely wanted to hear from you, being a coach, because I want to speak to the person who feels like college is not in their reach, that college is going to a university, going to a HBCU, they'll never get accepted, they'll never be able to afford it. And if you could give an encouraging word for that one person who can't see that in their future, and how you can help them get there.
You may not be able to see it, but I can see it. You may not be able to visualize behind your neighborhood, behind your block, behind your house, but I see things in students that they won't be able to see. And so for me, it's about encouraging them. And it may not be that you start off at a 4-year school. You might start off at a community college just to get your feet wet, and that's okay too. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it can't be done. It can definitely be done, and we can definitely work together to make it happen.
I absolutely love that. Coach TCRY, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that someone is inspired about their future. I hope a couple out there, a parent out there, is inspired for their children to get them in the right directions. With the proper strategy, you can do it, and Coach T can help. So all of you guys who are on here, make sure you follow Coach TCRY on Instagram, and of course go to the website CoachTCRY.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Look, I got to go to Cora's website and get some of those candles.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Me too. Thank you so much.
You.
I am just floored by another amazing night. I hope that you were inspired some way tonight in regards to building your business, whether following your path of what really moves you. And of course, I hope you're inspired about your future, because we never really think about 20-year plans when it comes to our children, when it comes to ourselves, even for our adults who are thinking about those pivots and about returning to education and about really following your passion. A lot of people have opened businesses because of their passion, but I know there are others out there who want to start a new career because of their passion. And I'm encouraging you right now to follow your dreams. So I thank every single one of you guys for supporting me and supporting Shop Bob. Of course, if you are a business owner, I want to interview you. I want you to come on my live, and I want to know more about what it is that you're building. I want to know the why behind your passion, and I want to help you get some sales. And of course, for our experts out there, I've been getting a lot of inquiries about home building, credit building, investing, as well as building their business in regards to marketing, digital planning, and so forth, even production. And so if you are an expert in any of those fields, please hit me up, because I would love to talk to you, because my mission is to build the community. And of course, with your help, we can help a business grow. Hi, I'm Janelle Simone, founder and CEO of Shop Bob, and I want to interview you. So if you're a business owner or an expert in your field, hit us up down below. And I would love to have you on Shop Bob Live so we can learn more about what you do and, of course, how to help the community. Make sure you go to shopbob.com for more info.